Fabrizio Romano just dropped a bomb. What was deemed impossible on deadline day could become reality this summer, and Arsenal fans need to hear this. Andrea Berta's secret weapon could land us an £81 million striker with his Atletico connections, and Rio Ferdinand just exposed what Arsenal players are doing, wrong with Viktor Gyokeres. Gooners Romano literally said, "Watch out, this is huge." What's up, Gooners? Before we dive into Fabrizio's bombshell, quick one, smash that like button right now because this contains exclusive transfer intel you absolutely need to hear. Let's go. Right, let's start with what Fabrizio Romano actually said about Sandro Tonali and Arsenal because this changes everything. Deadline day was chaos. Arsenal desperately wanted a midfielder to replace injured Mikel Merino. Tonali's name came up. David Ornstein reported Arsenal were interested. Then Tonali's agent denied it. Everyone thought it was dead, forgotten, move on. But Fabrizio Romano just revealed on DAZN Football that this story is far from over. Romano said, and I'm quoting directly, "It's impossible to sign Sandro Tonali in January. Imagine trying to do it in the last 24 hours. It's something that can't happen, I don't think, even on PlayStation, because signing a player of Tonali's level in 24 hours is absolutely impossible." Fair enough. Deadline day was always unrealistic. But then Romano said this. "Then if you ask me about Tonali, I'll answer, watch out for Tonali in the summer, because in the summer there will be interest from Juventus, there will be interest from very big Premier League teams. Arsenal could be one of them too. I think there will be a lot of movement around Tonali in the summer. We'll see what Newcastle decide, but January was always going to be impossible. Let me break down why this is massive. First, Fabrizio Romano doesn't say "watch out" casually. When he uses those words, he's signalling serious interest. Real movement, not speculation. Second, he specifically named Arsenal. Not a big Premier League club, not an unnamed team. Arsenal, by name. Third, he mentioned Juventus and multiple big Premier League teams. This is going to be a competitive race. Arsenal won't be alone. Now here's where it gets interesting. Tonali's agent shot down the Arsenal links on deadline day but noted there will be an evaluation closer to summer to see whether Newcastle are open to anything. Translation? The door was closed for January, but it's not locked for summer. Newcastle want a minimum of £80 million for Tonali. That's a massive fee. His contract runs until 2029, so Newcastle have all the leverage. But here's what Arsenal need to consider. Is Tonali worth £80 million given our other priorities? We need a left winger. We might need a striker depending on how Gyökeres develops. Defence is solid, but depth could improve. Spending £80 million on a midfielder when we already have Declan Rice, Thomas Partey and others, is that the best use of resources? Paul Merson called Tonali phenomenal and said he'd walk into any team in world football. Paul Scholes thinks he's better than Rice. The quality is undeniable. But the question becomes, do we need him badly enough to spend that kind of money? My take? If Andrea Berta can negotiate that fee down, maybe £60 to £65 million with add-ons, then yes, absolutely do it. Tonali is world-class, still only 25, and would give Arsenal incredible midfield depth. But at £80 million straight? That's questionable given other areas need strengthening too. What's clear is Romano has given Arsenal fans hope. What seemed impossible in January could become very possible in summer. And when Fabrizio Romano says, "watch out," you listen. Now let's talk about Julian Alvarez, because Arsenal's pursuit is heating up and Andrea Berta could be the ace up our sleeve. According to ESPN's James Ollie, Alvarez is very, very high on Arsenal's list of summer transfer targets. Ollie said, paraphrasing, "I think Alvarez ends all doubt about whether Arsenal have a top-class centre-forward to finish off that team. He can do everything. You just think Alvarez can do it all. Got that pedigree at the highest level." Now, Arsenal looked at Alvarez last summer before signing Viktor Gyokeres. Thierry Henry even urged Arsenal to sign the Argentine, but they went with Gyökeres instead for £63 million. That move hasn't quite gone to plan. Gyökeres has 11 goals in 30 matches. Not terrible, but not world-class either, and we'll get to Rio Ferdinand's brutal analysis in a moment. So Arsenal are preparing to return for Alvarez this summer. And here's where Berta becomes crucial. Andrea Berta spent over a decade at Atletico Madrid. He knows that club inside out. He has relationships. He understands how they negotiate. And here's the kicker. Berta actually did the deal that brought Alvarez to Atletico Madrid. He paid £81 million to sign him. He remains close with the players' camp. Ollie specifically said Berta could be the ace up Arsenal's sleeve because of these Atletico connections. Think about the advantage that gives Arsenal. When negotiating with Atletico, Berta knows who makes the final decisions, what arguments will work, what price is realistic, how to structure the deal, the player's personality and preferences. That insider knowledge is invaluable. Now comparing Alvarez to Gyökeres, they're tied on 11 goals this season, but Alvarez leads in assists with 5 compared to Gyökeres' 2. When they went head-to-head at the Emirates back in October, Gyökeres actually came out on top with a brace, so it's not like Gyökeres can't perform at that level. He just hasn't done it consistently, but Alvarez offers something Gyökeres doesn't: proven world-class pedigree. World Cup winner with Argentina, success at Manchester City, can play anywhere in attack, striker, winger, number 10. The versatility alone makes him incredibly valuable for a squad competing on 4 fronts. My prediction: Arsenal make a serious push for Alvarez in summer. Berta uses his Atletico connections to structure a deal. Maybe £70 to £75 million with add-ons that could reach £81 million based on performance. And if that happens, what happens to Gyökeres? Does he become a backup? Does he get sold? Does Arsenal try to play both? These are questions that will define Arsenal's summer transfer window. Final story, and it's brutal. Rio Ferdinand just called out Arsenal players for not playing to Viktor Gyokeres' strengths. Ferdinand believes Arsenal attackers are not looking for Gyökeres enough and told Arteta's team to simplify their play. Here's what Rio said on his podcast, and this is harsh. Gyökeres has made runs numerous times this season. I remember him at Old Trafford and other games where they get the ball in transition, Gyökeres starts moving and the ball doesn't come. I've seen Odegaard and other players in that position, and I'm thinking, play to Gyökeres' strengths, you might get a bit of a tune out of him. Then Ferdinand referenced the Kairat Almaty Champions League match where Kai Havertz came on, played a direct ball into Gyökeres' run, and it resulted in a goal. Rio's point? The problem sometimes with Arsenal is that everything has to be too precise. Let that sink in. Rio Ferdinand, Manchester United legend, is saying Arsenal overcomplicate things. We're so focused on perfect build-up play that we miss obvious opportunities to play direct balls to our striker, and Martin Odegaard is specifically called out. Our captain, our creative genius. Ferdinand is saying Odegaard isn't playing the right passes to Gyökeres. Now, is Ferdinand right? Let's look at evidence. Against Chelsea, Gyökeres managed just 10 touches and had 1 shot at goal in 69 minutes. That's shocking. A striker getting 10 touches in over an hour is basically invisible. Havertz came off the bench to replace him and found the back of the net immediately. That's not a coincidence. Gyökeres himself admitted it's been tough learning at Arsenal. He's still trying to get in tune with his teammates. But whose fault is that? Is it Gyökeres for not adapting to Arsenal's style? Or is it Arsenal's players for not adapting to him? Ferdinand is clearly saying it's the latter. Arsenal need to simplify, play more direct, use Gyökeres' strengths, his runs, his positioning, his finishing ability. But here's the concerning part. Havertz is slowly getting back to full fitness. And if he keeps performing when he gets chances, Gyökeres could lose his starting spot. Then what? Arsenal paid £63 million for a bench warmer while pursuing Alvarez for £81 million. That's potential disaster territory. 2 expensive strikers competing for 1 spot, neither fully trusted, neither performing consistently. My take? Ferdinand is absolutely right. Arsenal do overcomplicate sometimes. Playing beautiful football is great, but if it doesn't result in goals, what's the point? Gyökeres needs service. He needs teammates who look for his runs. He needs direct balls played into dangerous areas. If Arsenal can't or won't provide that, then maybe Alvarez really is the answer. Because Alvarez has proven he can thrive in different systems, with different teammates at the highest level. Gyökeres? Still proving it. Still learning. Still adapting. And time might be running out. All right, Gooners, three massive stories. Fabrizio Romano saying watch out for Arsenal and Tonali in summer. Berta's Atletico connections making Alvarez a very real possibility. And Rio Ferdinand exposing what Arsenal players are doing wrong with Gyökeres. I need your opinions in the comments right now. Should Arsenal spend £80 million on Tonali in summer, even though midfield isn't our weakest area, or use that money elsewhere? If Berta can land Alvarez for £75 to £80 million, do we sell Gyökeres or keep both strikers and rotate? And honestly, is Rio Ferdinand right that Arsenal overcomplicate our play and need to simplify for Gyökeres to succeed? Drop your takes below. These are huge questions that will define our summer. If you're not subscribed, subscribe now and turn notifications on because Romano just gave us insider info and there's more coming. Thanks for watching, Gooners, and remember, come on you Gunners!